So we're back to Let's Play Independence War 2, The Edge of Chaos. And we have just arrived home, and our friend and mentor, Jefferson Clay, has told us to go look at
This console is where you can access
this.
all the emails sent to the base. Once you've read the incoming messages, they get moved to the archive.
We can receive emails? I thought the base was supposed to be a secret hideout.
It's real secret. Your grandma set up a system so that encrypted messages get routed through a constantly changing array of satellites and then broadcast onto a wide band. The base then picks up the broadcast with its passive sensors. People can contact the base, even though they can't find it. Pretty cunning, huh?
Hey Clay, it looks like there's a message here. Unread.
So there is, kid. It's signed by your grandmother. You can open it.
Man, Grandma sounds so cool. Wild space pirates setting up crazy email bouncing systems. Yeah, let's go see what she had to say. To whoever finds this. The last will and testament of Lucretia Johnston. Being of sound mind, I, Lucretia Johnston, make the following bequeathment. I entrust this base, and all of its contents, to the reader of this document. This base is yours. My absence means just one thing, that I am dead. Chalk another one up to the ways of the universe. If you're reading this message, you have succeeded in locating my hidden base that I once called home. You've done well to find it. The base is located within a permanent gas storm called the Efreet. The ionized gas surrounding this place has kept it hidden from the prying senses of corporate cruisers for many years. You, the finder of my longtime hideout, are now the inheritor. The structure is the hulk of a terraforming drone. They used to call them biobombers. They were sent out from Earth centuries ago to transform worlds into places fit for a human being to live. I think this one took a bad turn somewhere. When it found itself in the Badlands, it must have given up and tried suicide. Nevertheless, the structure is an ideal one for a base of operations. The central chamber makes an excellent hangar and dry dock, and the robotic crane makes refitting and arming vessels a simple task. I only hope, dear reader, that you can put this to some good use. It is the privilege of the writer of a will to indulge herself in the occasional reminiscence. This testimonial is written for my own peace of mind more than historical reference, but heed it well, because it's all I ask in return for this base. In my life I was no saint. History is already full of lowlives out to tell the tale of their misspent lives. The universe does not need my story. Instead, I will use this space to try and share a little wisdom acquired from 30 years on the wrong side of the law. My name is Lucretia Johnston, and I am a pirate. I have spent much of my life trying to justify my actions, trying to convince myself that what I did was for a good and noble cause. I was playing Robin Hood, as my mentor Clay would say. But at the end of the day, I'm just another criminal, out to make a fast buck at the expense of others. Now don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change anything in my career choice. In a world where you're either the abused, the abuser, or a crook, I'd pick the latter any day. I am satisfied that I was different from most of the other thieves out there. I only hit the most abusive corporate vessels, and I seeded my profits among the victims of corporate oppression. We didn't just save individuals or communities. Whole colonies survived because of my crew. I thought I'd kept my priorities on what really matters, but there's a danger in pursuing even the loftiest goals. I'd had my head so far in the stars that I lost sight of life right here on the ground. In reaching for the heavens, I let the things I hold most dear slip through my fingers. If you ever read this, Felix, my son, I'm sorry that I gave more of myself to my work than I did to you. I'm sorry that we grew apart. If I could change one thing in my life, it would have been to spend more time with you. And the moral of this story, never ever lose sight of who you really are and what matters to you. Never forget the price you pay for the things you want. Ensure that you think beyond the glittering prizes of wealth, fame, or even noble deeds. These things are all fleeting, but a child who is close to you and proud of you, and that is priceless. Goodbye, Lucretia Johnston. This time and day, yada yada. Witnesses Lefty O'Hare and Zing Liu. Well, she seems like a nice lady, huh?
My grandma was a space pirate? Cool. How come Dad didn't tell me? That's so much more interesting than boring old mining.
Ah, Cal, you gotta understand. Your dad and your grandma never really agreed on, well, anything. And your dad wanted to give you a real home life.
Oh yeah. Look where a real life got him. Owing money to that Moss guy. I wish he was a pirate, like Grandma. Then maybe he wouldn't. Then maybe Moss would be dead.
Now you listen, kid. Felix Johnston was a brave man and a good father. Okay, maybe mine is not the most glamorous career, or the most lucrative, but he was always there for you. Space piracy may seem exciting and glamorous, and okay, maybe it is. But remember your grandma's email. There's a price to pay for the things we want. Maybe one day you'll appreciate what your dad did for you, and you can be proud of him.
That sounds so lame. I wish he was more like Grandma.
This place is gloomy with this emergency lighting. What do you say we get out of here and get into a ship? I'll show you how to fly the Storm Petrel. There's a training ground just outside the base. Your grandma built it so her crew could become crack pilots before going out in the big, wide world. You can do the same.
Alright, let's train up in the Storm Petrel. I thought he was supposed to tell us how to do that, but
This is the hangar for the base.
the hangar
Your
sounds
grandma
like a
once
good
had
idea.
nearly 30 ships docked here. Her own fleet. Looks a bit empty now. Just your old command section and the Storm Petrel. From the hangar, you can access all the systems required for fitting out a ship. That's the loadout. And you can also see the manifest, which shows you the gear you fitted to each of your ships.
Wow, look at that ship. Is that Grandma's?
Yep, that's the Storm Petrel. Scourge of the space lanes back in its day. Man, that sure brings back memories. We had it so good then.
I want to fly it, okay?
Sure, kid, you can fly it. But first things first. We need to get this old base back online before anything else. Then there'll be plenty of time to go tearing around in your own personal warship.
See, the only problem with this tutorial is it doesn't really tell you anything. But I guess it is fairly self-explanatory. Nice little animation. There goes the visor. And here we go. Flying our very own Storm Petrel.
There's a nearby training ground that Lucretia used for training new recruits. A lot of wannabe pirates washed out there. Hope you do better. Before I let you pilot the Storm Petrel, I want you to complete the course. I've marked up a waypoint for it. I also recommend you familiarize yourself with your weapons. You can do this at the weapon training area. Just fly to the waypoint I've marked.
I guess we're not actually in the Storm Petrel. That's another interesting thing about this game, actually. Unlike a lot of games that have cockpits for every ship, or other games that give you no cockpit, in my mind, of course, I'm thinking of X2 and X3. X2 having cockpits for every ship that I think were awesome and completely added to the immersion of the game, and then X3 that did away with them, presumably because it's too expensive to come up with high-res cockpits for everything. This game has you in a command module that basically, I guess, docks with various ships. So you always have a unified command interface and heads-up display and everything, which actually kind of makes sense as opposed to most games that kind of bend immersion and give you the same controls for every ship, which wouldn't necessarily be realistic. This game just sort of sidesteps it in its mythology. Anyway, let's do this training course.